Okay, so this is the Crimson Guitars neck relief gauge. It's a bit of a luxury. It's quite an expensive item, but hopefully it'll last and I'll have it for years. But it comes kind of separated, so the gauge it's got its own little box there and a certification notice and an Allen key. You put the gauge into the bar, turn the little screw there with your Allen key, and have a nice snug fit. The first thing that needs to happen is you need to calibrate it, and for some reason my small brain couldn't figure this out for quite some time, but you need an extremely flat surface. Now this is a fret leveling beam that I also got from Crimson Guitars. They're not going to send me anything free. I paid for all this stuff. I'm using that to calibrate my gauge. Now I tried my desk, I tried some glass on a TV stand. I eventually found a straight edge in the garage that was a real pain to kind of line up and keep lined up on there so I could actually calibrate it. But this beam is actually really quite easy. So if I put the gauge on the beam, you'll see that mine is reading 0 because I've calibrated it, but with one hand here I will kind of find the flat edge of that. And so what you would need to do is then loosen this screw and then turn this entire face so that the 0 meets the needle, and then that would be your calibration done. And then, because there's various different types of these things, Crimson Guitars say that you need to put the bar on the 1st fret and it reaches over to the 12th fret, and the gauge itself, it doesn't say that explicitly, but the gauge itself will then naturally sit on the 5th fret. I've seen like the StewMac gauge, I've seen people use that much further up the neck, but if you do that with this, then the gauge doesn't line up with the frets and all of that. If, for example, this is a PRS Silver Sky, I think PRS say on the website that you need to kind of look at the 8th fret as your pivot point. So that would be here, I believe. And the bar kind of doesn't really line up to that. So for this Crimson Guitars one, we're going with the 1st fret to 12th fret with the gauge on the 5th fret. So I'm doing the same thing with one hand and trying to find the flatness, as it were. And if we take a reading of that, that is on the gauge minus 3 thou. I say minus 3 thou. It's we'll read that as minus 3. So this is the other thing here. If I put this on here, it'd be easier. Let's look at this. So this reads 0 because it's perfectly flat. It's on my straight edge. I originally thought that to get 10 thousandths of an inch relief, I needed to go up to the 10. That guitar's in the garage. It's going to be sorted out later. But what I actually need to do is have the needle go the opposite direction towards the 90 on the gauge, and that will then give your conventional kind of backward bow that you would be more used to. So this PRS, for example, I'm going to this is a PRS SE, as I say, so that is, I'm going to call that 3 I'm going to call that 3 thou. So on the computer I am going to just put in 0.003 as my original, And so the manufacturer spec for this is 0.005 or 0.0010, so that is 5 thou or 10 thou. So in order to get to 5 thou, we would need to get to the first larger notch on the dial here. 10 thou would be hitting the 90. So I'm going to go to probably 5 to begin with. So I need to give this neck more relief. So to give this neck more relief, I'll take my Allen key and I'll put it in there, or will I? And I'm going to push this that away to give more relief. Now we're really at 3. So we are very 3 thou. So a bit more relief. There we go, we're getting there. We're at 4 thou now. Ooh, we're getting there. Bingos. Bingo ringo. There's my great camera skills. Right, so that's that. I'm gonna let that kind of settle in. But that is how you kind of use this gauge, and so far so good. It is fiddly, it is super sensitive, but it does take out all that feeler gauge guesswork nonsense. Thanks.